What we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria, every Monday on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge.
Hello and welcome to Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, brought to you by the Shepherd's Flock International Church. Today we are continuing our conversation with Dr. Jack Mbom, and we will be taking off from where we left off last week. It was such an explosive conversation last week. We're happy to have Dr. Jack back in the house. Dr. Jack is an exercise physiologist, a trainer, a coach, a karate black belter, national coach for many teams in Nigeria. He has worked in public sector as well as in the private sector. He holds a PhD, and he bagged his PhD 41 years ago in physical education, exercise, and physiology. And he has been practicing his trade for these decades. So he's a veteran. And today we are honored to have him on set to bring yet again information for your health transformation. For to be informed is to be transformed. To be uninformed is to be deformed. And we always say the best prescription is knowledge. What we need is not more medication, but more education. So Dr. Jack, you're welcome again to today's episode.
Thank you very much, Reverend Tony, and thank you for having me.
We will continue from where we left off last week. You were highlighting last week the purposes for exercise, the goals that one can achieve through exercise. And you said exercise for fitness, exercise for
leisure
and recreation, exercise for
as
health, as an art form for entertainment, and for many, many other things. But there was one that really caught my fancy. Exercise as it affects our mental capacity. Exercise for mental health on the one hand, and exercise for brain optimization on the other hand. And I also remember that some time ago you told me about the many great exploits that your children are doing, because you brought them up through this journey, and early in life they started exercising, you coached them, you mentored them, and it became part and parcel of their life. And that impacted them positively in the academics. Would you like to share, as much as you want, the story of how exercise has helped, the brain power of your children in particular?
With pleasure.
Right.
Our children are the most important asset we have. And for me, it's been getting, a cue for my own personal life,
right.
My academic performance, and the cue from my ex-wife's academic performance. She was the first HND graduate to be allowed to do a PhD at UNILAG without going through MPhil.
Wow.
So she
How
had
did that happen?
a 4.1 aggregate over 5 in her MSc. So she was the first Nigerian karate black belt. She was a fitness instructor, so versed, in exercise, and fitness. And she was even, a self-defense, coach. So basically, it was optimizing the components of the body, the physical, the mental, the psychological, the emotional, into a very powerful mixture
Right.
to enhance performance. So as we said, exercise, is a primer and a very powerful primer, for the brain and cognitive functions. We said that when you exercise,
Right.
or basically let us step back and say that the brain needs two things for optimal functionality. It needs glucose
Right.
and it needs oxygen.
Okay.
And what allows the brain to have, a lot of glucose and oxygen is muscular contraction and expansion. So
Okay.
exercise actually promotes, excellent cognition.
Right.
It also promotes excellent brain health, and brain capability by developing, the hippocampus.
Okay.
Which is the center for, strategizing, planning, thinking, leadership, and the prefrontal cortex.
Right.
Where most of the, intellectual, and cognitive function take place. And research has shown that it increases and allows new brain cells.
Wow.
To form into those two.
So those who exercise regularly, when they enter into their senior years, in their 60s, 70s,
the brain shrinking effect will be much more.
All right.
Less.
All right.
And we have noticed that, in professions like lawyers, judges, in the US, they don't go on retirement. When you're a Supreme Court justice, you're for life.
Wow.
Because you exercise your brain all the time. You keep on having a very highly functional brain until late in your years. Consequently, exercise is a sine qua non for brain health, a sine qua non for brain function. And it has been proven. So my children started doing karate at 2.
Right.
By the time they are 10, 11, they are black belt karate. First of all, because of the dangerous environment in schools.
For self-defense.
That's why in university you have cults.
Right.
You have acquaintance rape. So they had to be prepared to have answers that could come in handy.
And
to a few questions that may come up.
Unpleasant surprises for the assailant, for the predator.
Also turned out to be a trigger for excellent academic performance.
Right.
My son, had his doctor of pharmacy degree at 24 years, 9 months. And in fact, when he was on the 3rd semester of his PhD program, he had an issue, called me and said, "Look, Daddy, this is the first time in my postgraduate, life I had a B. It's always straight A's." And I asked him, "Have you tinkered with your,
exercise regime?
Your program?" I said, "How do you know? Do you put a babalawo here to check on me?" So how do you know? I say, "I know because of your performance." Okay? He said, "Yes, Daddy, I have not been training for the past, 2 weeks because I thought I was busy and I could, cut corners, and now I realized that it was actually counterproductive."
Right.
I said, "Just go back to it." He went back to it, and that was that. My daughter left here, and the first semester in the US, she had, 9 first. Even including, American English. So the teacher had to call me and ask me, "How come that your children, So they are doing, my 2 daughters are doing the PhD now in nursing. My son had a doctor of pharmacy degree at 24 years, 9 months, worked as a pharmacist for 5 years, and went back to medical school to become a medical
medicine.
doctor. So now he's a
pharmacist, doctor.
So basically, and that this was natural because it was known, and it has been known for, millenaries. In the days of the Roman and the Greek, the purpose of education was to develop a spiritus sano in corpore sano, sound minds in sound bodies, and sound bodies meant fit bodies, energetic, bodies. Yeah. So this is not a new concept. It's a concept that's as old as, the time human beings on earth. So that is a factor.
Good. So we talk about exercise for mental health, exercise for academic excellence. Now, when exactly did exercise become so popularized globally as medicine? Exercise as medicine. When did it become very, so projected and so presented globally? At what point? And who were the actors that were behind that movement?
Well, it was in the early, 70s. when exercise, with the concept of aerobics,
Right.
became, famous, and people started, you had an exercise explosion in the US, people started going to the gym and all that. And
The Paul Braggs, the Jack LaLannes.
yeah, that's right. Who helped with, popularizing,
Right.
that concept. And then, medical doctors started, thinking about exercise, as an added,
A
component therapy, to the patient. But it was not until the, 80s, the early 80s, that the Surgeon General of the US came with a statement.
Right.
The chief medical doctor came with a statement that exercise is absolutely important. That exercise helps, with, coronary heart disease, that it helps lower, high blood pressure, that it helps with, osteoporosis, that it helps, with diabetes, that it helps with, virtually a list of medical conditions that were listed down. So it was now,
officially endorsed.
And
Right.
because ab initio doctors were still reluctant, and they were still hesitating and all that. They are not trained in exercise. Exercise physiology is not part of the curriculum, just like nutrition is not part of the curriculum. The emphasis is put on pharmacology, and things like that. So when I usually describe, orthodox medicine, I say when you go to a medical doctor, two things that go through his mind. Number one, what poison to give you. We all
Dr.
know
Jack.
that all drugs are chemicals.
Yeah.
All chemicals are poison. They alter the composition of body tissue.
Right.
It may have a positive action by shutting down a chemical pathway to produce a result.
Right.
But it also has
Non-intended
that's unintended
consequences.
which we call side
effects, yeah.
and even unknown ones, which we call adverse effects.
Right.
So basically, when a medical doctor is prescribing a drug, he's always balancing the positive.
Yeah. The risk-benefit analysis.
That's right. So that is there. So he will say, what poison do I give him? Meaning, what drug do I prescribe? Or what body part do I remove?
Cut him down to size.
So basically, they were slow in coming to that, because even when we talk about, preventive medicine, prevention within the scope of orthodox medicine does not mean that your doctor will tell you how to, avoid being sick. He needs you to be sick so he can have something to do. So what we call prevention in orthodox medicine is pre-symptomatic diagnosis.
Catch it early.
Meaning the encouragement to catch it early. We call that the iceberg of disease. Catching it early, so that it will not be too late by the time you come. But
that's why they say when they do breast cancer awareness month, they say early detection is prevention.
That's right.
And that is illogical. Completely illogical.
That's what it is.
If it has been detected, no matter how early, it means it has not been prevented. It's already there.
It is detected when there's a significant physical change. Significant.
Yeah. At that point, it has already happened.
That's right.
It has taken root.
So it's something that, they took time to warm up to. But at least it is, accepted knowledge now that and exercise is indispensable as a component, of both preventive medicine and curative medicine.
How I wish that all the different practitioners will form a real team and work together, where you have the medical doctor, you have the nurses, you have the pharmacists, you have the physiotherapists, you have the medical lab scientists, you have the exercise physiologists, you have the nutritionists, dietitians, you have the clinical psychologists, and everybody is bringing their own together to form, an integrative approach to dealing with matters so that the outcome could be better. But what we see here is everybody trying to protect their turf.
No, the point you're making is crucial for our health,
right,
and even our performance. Because when we talk about health workers,
right,
We talk about medical doctors, we talk about nurses, we talk about pharmacists, and the other, health professionals. But we also talk about exercise physiologists, we talk about nutritionists, we talk about psychologists, we even talk about sociologists.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about the factors that affect health, there are basically 4 factors that affect health.
Go ahead, sir.
Your genetics affect your health to the tune of 20%. Your environment affects your health to the tune of 20%. Your access to good health care affects your health to the tune of 10%.
Only 10.
And your lifestyle choices, what we call positive lifestyle choices, affect your health to the tune of 50%.
That's the lion's share.
Okay, so clinical, outcomes only affect health to the tune of 10%.
10%. So,
and yet we take 99% of our resources into clinical practices and only 2 to 3% into
the other sectors.
What sense does it make?
I think there was a particular group that was set up by the American Senate a couple of years ago. I was reading it somewhere in a particular document. It was a select committee, Senate Select Committee in the United States Senate. And they asked them to investigate how come, there were too many hospitalizations for chronic degenerative diseases and what have you. And when they submitted the report, they made a statement in that report which never left my mind since I read it. They said the system that they were currently practicing at that time in America they illustrated it. That it's like many people are on top of a cliff and they are falling. People are falling from the cliff and they are suffering all manner of fractures and death and injuries. And then rather than build a kind of barricade on the cliff so that people won't fall over anymore, they decided to expend a lot of money to buy ambulances to wait at the base of the cliff. So when people have reached the dead end, either they are dead or they are almost dead or they are broken and shattered, then you pick their pieces together and put it in the ambulance and go and fix them.
It's a reactive.
Yeah. That the real deal will have been to prevent the falling in the first place, not just spend money in ambulances.
Because once you don't prevent, when you react, then there's trauma, there's downtime, there's a lot of uncertainty, and then there's also a lot of expenses. I know how much I spent. 1.5 million here, and 45,000.
In those days, not now.
$45,000 abroad.
Right.
So it's expensive.
Right.
Okay. Those intrusive medical procedures, they are very expensive. Drugs are expensive. You know that in the US, there are a lot of families that go bankrupt on insulin. Yeah. Insulin in the US costs 10 times, more than in Canada or in Mexico. So a lot of family try to sneak into Canada or Mexico to buy insulin. Yeah. This is expensive.
And these are things that diet, lifestyle, exercise can fix.
Prevention, is so easy. It's very cheap, it's non-traumatic, and it's very effective. But the fact is that it also does not bring in money.
So money speaks, economic factor, and that plays a big role in many, many policies and decisions all over the world. Because even the current COVID pandemic going on in the world, I've always tried to analyze and x-ray and study the different policies and different mandates and different decisions. And I have come to the conclusion that there are so many sides to this whole thing. I don't think it's just purely a matter of public health now. There's a lot of politics involved. There's a lot of economic considerations involved. Probably some sinister motives involved. And I also think of some spiritual motives at the end of the day. And economics in particular plays a big role.
I want to draw the attention of the individuals to the basic differentiation between public health policy and personal and family health policy. Right. Let us take the example of public health policy. There's a pronouncement made by the US government that only 700,000 Americans, were registered as having died of COVID. Okay. But those 700,000 Americans are faceless and nameless. I want everybody to remember that. They are faceless and nameless, and they attract no particular emotional reaction.
Because
they are cold and dry by reeling out those numbers.
Yeah.
But I make it bold to say that we can't afford at family and personal level to lose one individual.
That's right.
You lose one individual on whom the family is dependent, that family is destroyed.
Yeah, yeah.
Consequently, there's a need for us to understand that we must have different approaches. Your health is your property, is your personal human right. Nobody should impugn upon it. So you must make informed decisions.
Yeah.
So I am not going to put my health in the hands of people for whom I'm a statistic. It doesn't make any sense to me. So it is important for us to understand these things. Most people treat it as a number until it happens to them.
To them, yeah.
Then in shock and in awe, because I was listening to, President Biden, COVID star, when they were asking him what is the government doing and this and that. Say, the government is doing a lot in terms of trying to ensure that the vaccines that have been, made can reach the entirety of the population. Those vaccines, still don't prevent people from getting COVID, because there are new variants. Say, yes, then we may have to get booster shots and other cocktails of pharmaceuticals. Yet, research and experience has shown the world over that those who have had the severest symptoms of COVID and the highest rate of fatality are people with comorbidities or pre-existing medical conditions.
That's right.
Obesity, diabetes, kidney issues, coronary heart issues,
pulmonary conditions.
Right. So now, why don't they advise everybody to self-care
and get fit?
Because your immune system is the best defense that stands between you, illness, trauma, and death. Because it has no economic value.
That's right. That's why I said there's economic component, there's the political component, there's the scientific component, and many other components in the whole of these things.
But we should know where our interest lies.
Yeah.
Because when I usually talk to people, I tell them that, look, your interest is usually diametrically opposed to the interest of your medical doctor. He needs you to be sick so that he can be relevant. Okay? So, yes, it's a choice. No? Like what you were telling me the other time, the person who was boldly and proudly telling you about, how the doctor has been able to manage his diabetes
for 20 years.
But that's the mindset. So basically, it is a mind issue where people like now with COVID, they're trying to make us be scared. You are afraid and they can do anything. Then they'll put us one against the other. The pro-vax, the anti-vax.
Polarize the whole society.
This and that, so that they can be able to control. So it's an issue. As individuals, we should come up and see where our interest lies and determine what we need to do. Finally, for the purpose of those who are viewing us, I want to get people to stop fearing viruses. Viruses are natural evolutionary environment. And when it comes to body composition, for every human cell you have about 11 bacteria and 21 viruses.
Amen.
Okay? And then we have the central nervous system and the enteric nervous system, which is a microbiome.
Right.
And over 60 to 70% of your immune system is based there.
Right.
In fact, the cells inside your microbiome tell the brains what to do.
Your second brain. That's the second brain, they say.
So, the other thing is, you and I are Christians. We believe in God. Okay? Do you believe that human beings' wisdom is superior to God's wisdom?
No way.
And that God will create us, put us in an environment, write a manual, for our health.
Right.
And then humans will come and overwrite his manual?
Not possible.
So God put an immune system and he put a way of triggering that immune system. And what the vaccine does is trigger God's own immune system.
Yeah.
So the case of people dying of COVID is the immune system that goes berserk. Cytokine storm. Is an overreaction of the immune system.
Yeah.
So why don't people understand basic science? Basic human biology? Why should there be a fear? So if God created viruses and he created bacteria, it's because they have a purpose.
Yeah.
Just that there must be a balance.
Right.
Between them.
Yeah.
I was explaining to a young lady who was telling me that, she's been doing everything to stop having discharge. I said, discharge, God programmed it for the cleansing of your vagina.
Yeah.
That discharge is normal. It is only when it is smelly, when it is colored, when it is itchy, that means that the candida, have now broken the balance.
Right.
And that's why.
Yeah.
So God is a wonderful God. And He created us and He wrote a manual, and we should embrace every single thing that is part of our life and our environment and see how to create balance and harmony, for effective living. So basically fear. And I believe that fear is a very important factor.
Of course, when people are trepidated, when they're afraid, they lose control of their rational thinking.
That's right.
At the end of the day. Thank you for, digressing to that aspect. That wasn't our intention today, but I believe it's been useful.
It's so current, topical.
Yeah. So we have, gone past our point of having the break, but we'll still go on that short break. So when we come back, we have very few more minutes to go before our time will be up for today. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
How far can you go on your own? How fast can you run on your own? We take you far. We take you high. We make it fast. Divine Impact Summit takes you far, gives you speed. DIS, where divinity meets humanity. Maranatha, the King is coming soon. DIS 2022.
Discover fundamental truth that will transform your health and empower you to live a life void of sicknesses in this new book by Reverend Tony Akinyemi, Nature vs. Nurture. Get a copy to experience it for yourself. Please visit TSS Bookshop now to grab a copy.
Rafa Institute of Healthy Living presents Healthy Living Module 3 Training. Date 17th to 20th of November, Wednesday to Saturday, 2021. Join Reverend Tony Akinyemi and his team of seasoned professionals for this life-changing training. The time is 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. daily. This would allow you to have returned from office and settled. Please note that this training will be held on Zoom. Training fee is 40,000 Naira and the early bird registration is 35,000 Naira. Module 1 graduates are eligible to attend this training. What you will learn includes cancer prevention strategies, colonic irrigation and enema, vitamin C, benefits and channels of administrations, alternative cancer protocol, natural bioresources for health, cancer, the types, causes, incidence, characteristics and stages, environment and our health, etc. For more information, please call +234 902 976 6076 or +234 806 702 0412. Thank you.
Welcome back to Exposé. This is brought to you by the Shepherd's Flock International Church, and I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. We have today on set Dr. Jack Mbom, and he has been explosive, sharing his heart with us regarding exercise and fitness, exercise and health, exercise and productivity, exercise and academic excellence, and what have you. And he has testimonials, personal experiences to show for all of these things that he puts on the table. He's not just a theorist, he's a practitioner. And as you can see him, he is 69 years young. In fact, he has less than 1 year to go to celebrate 70. And when you look at him, you think that he's 50. He's 69 years young, and he lives what he preaches, and we can see it on him. We thank you for being with us here today. I want to ask you a very pointed question. That is to tell us what are the criteria that qualifies exercise as good, and what makes exercise dangerous, if at all.
That's a very good question. I guess that a lot of viewers out there have been asking themselves that question. The first criteria is that exercise must be knowledge and not equipment intensive. Let me repeat. Exercise must be knowledge and not equipment intensive.
What do you mean exactly by that?
What I mean by that is that firstly, when or if your exercise, is equipment intensive, mean that you need your treadmill to build up fitness, then you're going to have issues with continuity and sustainability. And exercise is only useful when it's continuous, when it has become a lifestyle.
Okay.
So if you have your treadmill in Lagos and you want to travel to Abuja
for 2 weeks,
and you carry your treadmill to the back and you reach the tarmac, and the airline says, sorry, you cannot embark it, and you leave it in the tarmac. You reach Abuja without your treadmill. Consequently, you will not have your exercise implement.
For that period.
You stop exercising.
And you lose the benefit.
An interruption in training for a period of time is followed by a decrease in performance capacity.
Okay.
So when you don't exercise, there's a decrease.
So the best thing is to learn the techniques for exercising without depending on exercise equipment. So that wherever you go,
you can exercise. The other
without
thing
interruption.
is the danger of exercise equipment implement.
Okay.
The manufacturer of the treadmill is not interested in your health. He's interested in the money he makes. The treadmill as an exercise station is an impact station.
Okay.
Meaning that when you sprint on the treadmill, every time your foot hits that step, it's 5 times the weight of your body. On the ankles, the knees, the hips, plus the vibration of your spine. So 5 years, 10 years, 12 years down the road, you earn expensive rheumatism and arthritis, all on your doing.
Because you want to get fit.
That's right.
Now you have purchased what you didn't intended.
An iron in my leg. If I was using the treadmill, that leg would have been amputated by now. Consequently,
that's a new dimension altogether.
That's right.
Because many people think of exercise as being on the treadmill.
That's right. And then the third dimension is that if God in his infinite mercy did not create a treadmill for us.
He gave us 2 doctors, our 2 legs.
In fact, experience has shown that our problem today, our health risk factors are multiplied by sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What is sedentary lifestyle and why is it called the silent killer?
Beautiful. So consequently, when you have exercise in its natural state,
right?
What do you and I tell people? Go back to nature. No processed food.
Right.
No processed movement. Exercise on the treadmill is what? Processed movement. So back to nature as God made it.
Okay.
So that's very important. So number 1, exercise knowledge intensive. So you have the flexibility of being able to exercise in your office, in your bedroom, in your hotel room, with emphasis on continuity and sustainability. The second thing is exercise, must be must be handled by knowledge workers.
Right.
Knowledge workers who know the human body, who have studied, exercise and know how to plan it, know how to be able to organize it and structure it so it can be able to achieve the intended purpose. Consequently, ensuring that whomever you give your body to has the capacity to handle it with that level of care, that level of knowledge, etc. Thirdly, exercise must be of short duration.
Okay. And what is that duration?
The 30 minutes.
Per day?
Yep. Research has shown and experience has shown that intensity of exercise is more important than duration of exercise. Okay? So if you walk for 2 hours and somebody sprints, for 5 minutes, that person has more benefit than you who work for 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Research has also shown that if you do high intensity interval training for more than 30 minutes, the body starts produces free radicals.
Because you are going into anaerobic.
That's right.
Yeah.
That start, destroying your cells.
Right.
So we advise 30 minutes. And it's good for us professionals. Because you don't have 2 or 3 hours to waste in a gym.
Right.
Okay? 30 minutes, and those 30 minutes can be cut into either 15 minutes times 2 or 10 minutes times 3. So you have the flexibility.
Yeah.
So nobody can come and say, I don't have time to
Exercise. You're hearing us. You do have time to exercise, so go do it.
And the fourth factor is that exercise must be continuous. Because when you exercise, you start building in, value, increments of improvement, and if you stop exercising, they are going to start reversing themselves.
Okay.
I usually tell people that a medical doctor who stopped practicing medicine does not remain a medical doctor. He will graduate into becoming a medical babalawo. So, see, function makes organ, and lack of use causes atrophy.
Yeah.
Consequently, exercise must be continuous. As long as we live. If you have a car, you don't stop servicing it. You don't stop oiling it. You don't stop cleaning it. Those are requirements to keep, optimum functionality for it. So again, exercise, like we said, the 4 criteria of usefulness of exercise. Exercise must be, done, by knowledge workers. Exercise must be knowledge intensive and not equipment intensive. Exercise must be of short duration and must be of continuous application. Those are the 4, major criteria.
Once those criteria are, observed, fulfilled, then you derive all the benefits derivable from exercise. Great. Yeah. Before we forget, I want you to tell us about your practice. I believe you live in Lagos. You have a center in Lagos on the island where people can visit you and experience some of these things that you've been sharing. Where is that location? What is the name of your practice? And if somebody wants to contact you, what kind of services do you render? Who should come to you? And where should they meet you? And then your contact details.
Well, I'm the chief consultant at Totus, Cara, Wellness Center. That's Total Care, Wellness Center. And it's on, number 4, Green John Court. Right. John Great Court on the alternative road off Chevron Drive. Okay. And
your opening hours?
The opening hours are virtually, from 6 to about
AM
to about 9 a.m. Because we have early birds,
right,
and we have late, comers, depending upon the,
What about retirees that have all their time to come at 12 noon?
Oh, we have time for them too. We have mothers who drop the children and pick up the children from home. We have retirees who have all the time. Right. That's why we open from that extreme to
the other one,
to
right?
The extreme, and our major component for keeping you healthy and getting you back to health is awareness, right, information, and education. Okay. So when you come, we tell you that it's not about us. It's about knowledge. Right. Up-to-date current information.
Right. From around the world.
By the best scientists and professors in the world through double-blind, placebo-controlled experimentation, which is the golden standard of science, to show causation. Right. Not correlation. Right. So that you can be able to build internal motivation. And what we do is we prevent illness. We develop your energy capacity, increase your performance ability, improve your productive capacity, allow you to live longer and live happier and live fulfilled through 5 components. Right. We call them the 4 tires and 1 spare.
Of your vehicle.
Right. So, number 1, nutrition. Okay. Balanced nutrition. And I'm glad to say that you have a tremendous impact on our nutritional habit, through your incessant effort, and your courses. Nutrition is the quality of the fuel we put in the system, and it impacts tremendously, your health and your performance. And we recommend, whole food, predominantly plant-based.
Right.
With low animal protein and low oil.
Right.
Now, exercise, the basic understanding the world over is a recommendation of 150 minutes of exercise every week.
Every week.
Okay?
That's 30 minutes,
we don't have
5
any
days.
universal acceptance of diet in the world.
Yeah.
But we have a universal acceptance and understanding of exercise.
Yeah.
150 minutes of moderate exercise every week.
30 minutes, 5 days a week.
That's right. But then it must be understood that is recommended daily allowance.
Right.
For maintenance.
That's right. Not therapeutic
Not
yet.
therapeutic.
Right.
Not, performance, enhancing. So it's a basic recommendation for.
That's the basic minimum.
Basic minimum that you can
Right.
do. So that's important. And the components, must be aerobics. The components must be calisthenic for muscular endurance.
Yeah.
And then strength.
Right.
And then flexibility for servicing of the joint. So you
Right.
have the widest possible range of motion at the joint level to improve your mobility, and also improve your stability and your balance. Okay. So that is important. And then we do a lot of counseling also, I talked about nutrition, I talked about exercise. We also encourage people to rest.
Okay.
And sleep well. Because no matter how well you eat and how much you exercise, if you don't rest, is when you rest and you go through the phase of deep sleep, that your brain sewage system clicks into effect to be able to clean the beta amyloid,
Right.
which is the toxic protein
Right.
that will cause, Alzheimer's
And
depression,
Parkinson's
and all
and
that.
whatever.
It's also during the same time that is beautiful, natural, medicine, which is a natural high blood pressure, dropper.
Right.
Well, that's right. Go to your heart, and when you are in the deep sleep stage, your heartbeat is below your normal resting heartbeat, so that the heart can rest, renew itself, restore itself. So you need sleep. Between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a day. Good
7 to
quality.
9 hours.
Yeah, a day. Good quality. So you can renew, you can restore, you can auto-regulate, and you can repair. Then number 4, stress management. We live in an environment where we have all manners of stressors. If it's not, then it was Abachanomic, then good luck, Jonathanomics, now it's Buharinomics, and the Lord knows what we suffer from that. We're just discussing, traffic,
Right.
and stress.
Right.
So stress depresses your immune system. Stress causes inflammation. Okay? And inflammation is the underlying factor for virtually all chronic degenerative diseases.
Yeah.
Consequently, managing stress is very essential. And managing stress for those of us in Christendom is what? Pitching your tent in the land of hope and faith.
Right.
Making sure that you understand that God sent you here for a purpose and that He will supply your needs. He may not supply your wants, but He will supply your needs, what you need for you to be successful in what He sent you here to do. Consequently, focusing on your circle of control and leaving your circle of concern. So that you can be able to manage stress properly, metabolize it effectively, and not have it have a negative impact on your health. And then finally, social support, love and intimacy. Human beings are loving beings, hugging beings, caring beings. When you do what you're doing to us now during COVID, of exchanging us, usually it used to be animals in the zoo, and human beings go and watch them. Today it's human beings in the zoo and animals come too. So, consequently,
you're always humorous.
The rate of depression, the rate of anxiety,
Even
the rate
suicide.
of suicide
Yeah.
has drastically gone up. So these 5 components have to be attended to and attended to pari passu.
Right.
In a manner mutually supportive for systems efficiency.
Wow. I wish we could go on and on and on and on. We can't go further than here other than to say to you that Dr. Jack also speaks French very fluently, apart from speaking English and other Nigerian languages.
French and Spanish.
Yeah, and Spanish very, very fluently. He's a very, very erudite, multi-talented scholar, practitioner, and everything rolled into one. Yeah, not too many of you around this area. Yeah, you have to tell us your email address, your telephone contact.
Email address, drjackmbom@gmail.com. Dr. Dr. Jack Jack Mbom MBOM @gmail.com.
Right.
Telephone numbers 080-340-55345 and the backup.
Right.
090-2388-1511.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jack. We cannot thank you enough. I believe all our viewers are saying thank you out there. Can you just appreciate Dr. Jack in the chat room by putting up your favorite emoji right there so that Dr. Jack knows that you really appreciate the content that he has brought into Exposé today. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, for the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, and it has been brought to you by the Shepherd's Flock International Church. You can see this every Monday, 8 p.m. Nigerian time on Facebook and on YouTube. And we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We encourage you to like us on Facebook. And we want you to also click that thumbs up button if you really enjoyed this episode, and share with your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, your family, and even your enemies. And once they watch the episode, they will cease being your enemies. They'll become your friends, because they will be grateful to you for sending them life-saving information. Again, Exposé comes up every Monday, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. And I am always your regular host. Tony Akinyemi is my name. Thank you for your time with us today, as always. And we appreciate those of you particularly who are joining us for the first time today. And those of you who are veterans, old faithfuls, always showing up every Monday. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. Do have a very pleasant and very, very exciting week ahead of you. See you on the next episode. God bless you and thank you. Bye-bye.
Discover fundamental truth that will transform your health and empower you to live a life void of sicknesses in this new book by Reverend Tony Akinyemi, Nature vs. Nurture. Get a copy to experience it for yourself. Please visit TSS Bookshop now to grab a copy.
Rafa Institute of Healthy Living presents Healthy Living Module 3 Training. Date 17th to 20th of November, Wednesday to Saturday, 2021. Join Reverend Tony Akinyemi and his team of seasoned professionals for this life-changing training. The time is 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. daily. This would allow you to have returned from office and settled. Please note that this training will be held on Zoom. Training fee is 40,000 naira and the early bird registration is 35,000 naira. Module 1 graduates are eligible to attend this training. What you will learn includes cancer prevention strategies, colonic irrigation and enema, vitamin C, benefits and channels of administrations, alternative cancer protocol, natural bioresources for health, cancer, the types, causes, incidence, characteristics and stages, environment and our health, etc. For more information, please call +234 902 976 6076 or +234 806 702 0412. Thank you.
How far can you go on your own? How fast can you run on your own? We take you far. We take you high. We make it fast. Divine Impact Summit takes you far, gives you speed. DIS, where divinity meets humanity. Maranatha, the King is coming soon. DIS 2022.